Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in my last video I talked about being 31. I'm 31 years old right now, almost 32, and I'm currently not living the life that I thought I'd be living by this age. But today I'd like to talk about a different side of this topic of aging, which is aging gracefully in the Instagram era, or like the social media models era. Okay, so first I'd like to clarify what aging means to me, because I do think that it means different things to different women depending on your cultural background, on your environment, on how your mom handled herself when she was aging and stuff like that. So for me personally, I'm just talking about myself, I started to feel old when I turned 29. I think because I realized that that was the last year of that decade, and then I was entering 30s, and once you enter 30s, that's it. Like there's no going back to, being in your 20s. And as I said earlier, I'm 32 years old now, and I have not stopped feeling old. So there's a pretty good chance that I'm gonna feel this way for the rest of my life. And I'd like to add that some women, I personally know them, they don't feel any negative feelings about their age, no matter what age they are. And I just want to clarify that today in this video, I'm not talking about those women, and I'm not talking to those women. And here's the thing, guys, there are many factors that affect how we feel about our age. The first one, and I think probably the most important one, is the reproductive factor, which is we unfortunately cannot have children whenever we want. We can't have them when we get older. And also, even when we can, like a lot of women can have kids when they're in their 40s, it's not as easy as if you were in your 20s or maybe early 30s, because just like your egg quality is not the same, your body is not the same. So there is that biological clock aspect to it, which I'd say I'd be lying if I said I didn't care about that. I do care about that very much. And a lot of my friends do tell me that I probably wouldn't care as much about aging if I had kids by this age, and they're probably right. The second factor is your personal appearance, which I know that may sound super shallow to some of you. I am a woman and I do care how I look. I care about not having saggy, wrinkly skin. I care about looking young, having firm skin, looking beautiful. All those things are very important to me. And unfortunately, those things are unavoidable. And so meanwhile, while you're going through all of that, you grab your phone, you open up Instagram or TikTok, and you see all those beautiful, young, gorgeous, perfect little Instagram models, and they proudly showcase their perfection for everyone to see. And that is a whole another factor that adds to your stress about your age. So that is why the third factor is the one I want to spend the most time talking about today, which is your psychology. So you may have done this in the past. I do it to this day, but you may have said something like, "Oh, I wish like I was stuck at the age of 26. 26 was the perfect age for me." And if you haven't done it, then please pause this video and think about that. Think about what is the age that you, if you could, you would choose to be stuck in. And once you find an answer to that question, here's a follow-up question. Why? What for? Why exactly that age? What would you do if you were in a body of a 26-year-old, as in my case? My answer to that, I had several answers, but one of my answers was, well, I could still start a business because it would be less risky. I could still recover if I failed. Or here's another really good one that I kept using as an excuse, which was, well, I would start a TikTok account or a YouTube channel and hopefully make money that way, because that's what younger people do, not older people. Or for you, it could be something like, well, I could still start my modeling career, or I could go back to college, or maybe something like I could pursue a whole new career if I was younger. When you do this exercise, you start to kind of organize your thoughts and identify what it is that you actually need permission, you could say, to pursue in your life. Because it's almost like we're using this age thing as an excuse to not do that. Like, I need permission to go and start a YouTube channel. If I was 26, I would do it, but I'm not, so therefore I have a great excuse to not do it and stay lazy. And not understanding why you want to be a certain age or you want to be stuck in a certain younger age could lead to an irrational thinking pattern, which is basically a trap you set for yourself. So let's go back to the things that you thought you'd be doing if you were younger: pursuing a new career, getting a new degree, starting a YouTube channel. Those desires, not the age, those desires should be the foundation that you build the rest of your life on. That should be your main focus, because those other thoughts, the thoughts of frustration about your age and despair about the fact that you're getting older, pretty much spending time thinking about things that you cannot control, those thoughts are pointless, and they exist to entertain you, or in other words, to distract you from focusing on what you actually should be focusing on. They are a distraction from the real, the more pressing issues that actually matter. So let's picture this. You're sitting, you grab your phone, you go on Instagram, you start scrolling, and you start seeing this perfect, beautiful 21-year-old model. She's young, she's fit, oh, and she's also rich. And you start thinking, oh my gosh, poor me. I'm never gonna look this good again. I'm never gonna be this skinny again. Poor victim me. I am such a victim of my life, of my circumstances. And these thoughts you're having at this moment right now, they're like, hey, don't look at the real problem. Focus on this other thing that you absolutely cannot control and spend your life doing that. Sometimes I find myself thinking, oh, she's 21. I'm never going to be 21 again. In fact, I'm never going to be in my 20s again. I'm 31. Oh my gosh, I'm closer to 40 than I am to 20. And what am I going to do with my life? And then I'm like, wait a second. What do you mean, what are you going to do with your life? What were you planning to do with your life? Were you planning to just die when you were 30? And I think it's important to actually find answers to these questions of like, what were you actually planning to do with your life? Because that's the point. The point is to take your life into your own hands and directing it to where you want it to go. It's not about the age. And here's another very important thing that only comes with age. You obtain wisdom, life experience, knowledge about things, possibly more money, hopefully more peace. You know yourself better. And these are the things you most likely didn't have when you were 25. These are the things you couldn't possibly have in your 20s, because in order to obtain them, you actually had to live through those 20s. And I know that not everyone who ages becomes wise, but I will guarantee you that a lot of my friends who are in their 30s are much wiser than my cousins who are in their 20s. To summarize, I think it's essential to come to terms with the fact that today is the youngest you're ever going to be. So enjoy that. Enjoy your age. Accept it wholeheartedly and with gratitude. And once you accept it, then you can start to think about, what is it that I want to do with the rest of my life? It's actually quite simple. I know it's not easy, but it is simple. And I'd like to add something about Instagram and TikTok. Those girlies, they film content for you guys. They film the most fun, the most exciting, the most interesting parts of their lives. And then from that, they choose the best, the creme de la creme of that content, and then they post it. So it's not like there's a camera all over their house that is filming 24/7 and you get to see the good side, but also all the terrible moments. You don't see terrible moments, and that's on purpose. So comparing yourself to that, that's just a distraction. That's just your brain trying to distract you from pursuing a better life. And also, the older we get, the more distorted our perception of our youth becomes. We forget what it was really like to be 21 or 24, 25, 26. Most of us were probably broke, frustrated, uncomfortable in our own skin, unhappy, heartbroken. And as the time goes on, we forget about all of that and we create this romantic idea of what it was like to be in our 20s. But I promise you, it wasn't all that pretty. Me now, however, I am so much more confident in my own skin. I know exactly what I bring to the table. I know my personal value. I care about my friends and family a lot more. I have better relationships with my parents, with my coworkers, with my friends. I am less volatile. My fights with my partner are way less explosive than they used to be. I'm much more grateful in my state of mind. I'm also a lot more peaceful. In other words, I've grown up. I've matured. I've gotten wiser. So looking at it like that, if I could choose right now, which age would I rather be? Would I rather be right now 31-and-a-half-year-old me, or would I rather be the version of me in my 20s? I would, in a heartbeat, I would choose myself now. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is if you are beating yourself up about a number, then just know it's not about that number. The problem is not your age. The problem is in your psychology and how satisfied you actually are with the life you've created for yourself. The good news is you can actually change your life. You're the only one who can. And the bad news is you are the only one who can change your life. No one else can do it for you, unfortunately. And so many people would rather not do the work. They would rather complain about not being as young as they used to be or not having as many opportunities as young people have. So anyway, guys, these are my thoughts on this topic. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please let me know. Please like the video, please subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment about your thoughts about aging. I'd love to read them, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.